What's up, twin?
Salutations.
Hope you're doing well. If you're not doing well, it'll get better with due time. You just gotta trust the process, and that's a lot easier said than done. As you can see, we have a special guest. First video with somebody else, so hopefully this goes good. This is my best friend, or not. I could make that a whole side tangent. Been best friends since 8th grade. We just made a pact and we've stuck with this since. Yeah. This video is about self-improvement, though. Now you see why I wanted to make it. Uh-huh. What does it mean to you?
Oh, okay.
I know that's super broad, but that's like the whole point.
Self-improvement?
Yeah. Also, she's a psychology major. So she's like really smart. So she could probably give you guys way better insight than I could, because I'm just a guy who likes to work out and I'm a psych minor. And I just think it's cool. Yeah.
You're setting a very high bar. Okay.
Well, because you gotta, you know what I'm saying, you're up there.
Okay, self-improvement, what it means to me?
Yeah. In like a broad sense or whatever.
I'd say in a broad sense, it's waking up every day wanting to become a better version of yourself. I think self-improvement is something that's more continual and lifelong rather than like something contained in a short period. So for example, like New Year's resolutions. That's a prime time for people to embark on their self-improvement journeys and try and cultivate like a better version of themselves, but oftentimes that spark fizzles out really, really quickly.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think New Year's resolutions, like, you can Google it. I think there's like New Year's resolutions only last like a couple weeks.
Exactly, yeah. If that. So most of the time is people just kind of coming up with something on a whim versus actual self-improvement is like taking the time like every single day to build towards that goal regardless. So consistency really is what I think defines.
You know, it's funny. I saw something that talked about like with authenticity, consistency. It was like consistency beats authenticity because it like shows something. You know what I mean? And I think about how I try to I preach authenticity a lot on my channel. And I was like, I saw that, and it kind of just like rewired my brain a little bit. But I thought it was funny. I thought that I've like had with this though is like I think self-improvement starts with like first wanting to change, but then like definitely having a why. You know what I mean? I made a whole video talking about the word why, and I could definitely redo that video now because it was my first one, but it's like low quality.
That's okay. Everyone starts somewhere.
It was like an hour and a half long, and the quality's like really. I'm like in the car driving, you can barely hear me. But I think that definitely it's wanting to change for yourself, not for like anybody else, but then like definitely having a hard, clear-cut why.
Yeah.
What's your take?
I can agree. I think having a why is what distinguishes someone's goal from being short-term to long-term. Because like in the example I gave earlier of New Year's resolutions, people will come up with something. Maybe it's the classic, I want to lose weight, right? Prime example. They're like, okay, cool, I want to lose weight. And then they'll like have that in their mind, New Year rolls in, and then they either like, one, didn't have a deeper meaning, or they didn't break that goal down into realistic steps. They just had one big goal.
Do you think that it's like not breaking it down into like little things is probably why people get like lost in that self-improvement maybe per se?
Yeah, there's a lot of psychology research out there that shows that more realistic bite-sized goals are what lead to bigger changes and achievement of larger goals. So if you just have, okay, I want to lose weight, but then you don't create an action plan for doing that, like, okay, this day I'm going to go get a gym membership. Right, this day I'm going to go for 30 minutes. You have to really break it down. If you don't, people get overwhelmed with not knowing how to start, when to start, and like what that journey looks like. So if you're working towards a goal without clear steps of how to get there, it can make the process very convoluted.
That's a big word.
Very, very
I can't spell it. I would tell you to spell it, but I can't.
Convoluted.
Yeah. No, I think it's funny you said it though. I saw something either like yesterday or like 2 days ago, and it was like some lady on Instagram, because a lot of my like Instagrams like self-improvement, like betterment and whatnot. was like kind of saying the same thing that you said. Like people set the bar like way too high.
Yeah.
And it was like I think she made the example of like people talk about how they want like $500 or they want to make this, but it's like start with 50. Start with 5. Start with something. And it was like I guess for the gym example per se, it's like I want to get jacked. I want to lose weight. And it's like I agree. A lot of people don't know where to start, but it's like even if you break that down, start YouTube. Just not start YouTube, but like watch YouTube videos how to beginner workouts, beginner cardio, beginner ab workouts, or whatever it may be, or like start going on a walk. I just filled this up.
And spill your Stanley.
I know.
That really helps.
I just filled this up too. But I do think that's a lot a big one though. You know, because I know like myself, for example, come on. When I started working out, granted, I feel like I knew a decent chunk just because of like being an athlete and whatnot, but I do think it's one of those I probably didn't make a clear-cut goal. Excuse me. I kind of just woke up one day and was like, yeah, I'm tired of being fat.
I mean, for some people, that's motivation enough though, if they keep with that thought. If it's just more of like a transient thought that passes you by, then it's not going to be as motivational as if you were to tell yourself that every single day and have that in the back of your mind as you're going to the gym, as you're working out, as you're trying to physically improve yourself.
Do you think that like not recording but like logging self-betterment like helps a lot, or what's your take on that?
That is a good question.
Because that's what that thing's right there. I've preached this a lot. Journal.
Oh, that's what you were writing.
Journal. I have today was. I've done this. I made a video on my 2 weeks. Today. Oh, I wrote on the wrong page. That bothers me.
Good job.
71 days. I've been journaling for 71 days.
Wow.
Tomorrow morning I wake up. Today, like actively, is day 72. But I write it in the mornings.
Okay.
But yeah, little things.
I was so confused what you were writing the other day. I thought you were writing a paper for your class. I was like, okay, I didn't know you did that on paper
I'm
stuff.
way too impatient for that.
That's fair. Okay, so what was the original question? It was, does like logging it and taking...
Yeah, like how do you think that helps, per se? Because I think that even like something like that, I try to talk about it a lot in these videos, but it's like I talk about reading, going on walks, but it's like, I really think this is the most I've done when it comes to like actually like logging my productivity or like self-journey. I've got recently, this last like week or so, I've voice memoed. So like at the end of the day, I'll talk about my whole day. If I feel like I won the day, if I feel like I lost the day, and I'll listen to it in the morning. So that's what I did. I made one last night. I journaled from yesterday, and I listened to yesterday's voice memo to myself.
I know from person to person it varies, because I tried to get into journaling, and for me, especially if I'm coming from a long day of work and classes, sitting down and writing
The last thing you
is
want to
just
do.
not what I want to do.
Yeah.
However, I have recently gotten into voice memos doing that exact thing, just taking like however long to just do a recap of my day, shout out things that I'm proud about, things that I tried that were new, things that I wasn't so happy about, things I wanted to do tomorrow. It helps me kind of hold myself accountable. Specifically in the context of going to the gym, like, oh, today, day 2, and I'm going to the gym. Tomorrow, I really gotta go because I'm starting to feel like shit.
I have noticed.
Yeah, but it does help with accountability, I think. Also, I know journaling in the context of emotional regulation. It's super beneficial.
That is exactly what I started this for.
Super beneficial. And everyone likes to do it differently. For me, I like my voice memos because then I can go back and listen to it, and I don't mind doing that. Writing it all out, that's a whole lot to write down, especially if you're processing a lot of.
If you've had a really long day, I've had days where it's like literally the very bottom line is like full, and then I've had days where it's like a third of the paper.
Literally.
Yeah.
Voice memos are cool because I have some voice memos that are literally 3 minutes and some that are 12.
I was gonna say, I think
You just never know.
today, or the one I made last night, I think last night's was like 4 minutes, and I have another one when our power went out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the power went out out of the blue one day, like last week. Nothing worked, and I just like went on a walk, and then that night I made like an 8-minute voice memo.
Yeah.
And then
I mean, helps you lock in, I guess.
It did. I was like, when I was listening to it, I was like, dog. I was like, how did you talk for this long? But
You just got your flashlight on your phone and you're just yapping.
With it before, I was like walking around, but same thing, voice memo. I think voice memo is like a really good one, and I said it because I picked up on it recently. But I like it a lot because it's like you can hear your tone, you can hear, and I think
and that's
that makes
paper
a big
can't
difference.
capture. And if you're really, really tired, like there's been some memos where I maybe like forget something before I go to bed. I'll wake up really randomly in the middle of the night. I'm like, wait, like low key, my eyes are still shut. I'm like, hold on, wait, let me just record a really quick 3-minute.
I can talk with my eyes closed.
Literally, I'm like, I'm talking with my eyes closed right now. And then you're done. Like, and then it saves. You add a date to it, and then you can go back.
How do you think trying new things helps out when it comes to like self-betterment personally?
Trying new things.
Because you kind of, like you said, like a couple minutes ago, like when your voice memo saying if you did something new, how do you think that kind of like ties into self-betterment or maybe understanding yourself?
I think with trying things new, the thing that comes to mind for me is like new hobbies. So as you know, recently I started getting into cross stitching, right? Which is something I've always wanted to try, but something that I had never actually done before. And I really enjoyed it, and I was excited to try something new. I think building hobbies that you enjoy, trying those new things that can lead to more consistent hobbies, it can all help with, again, emotional regulation. If you have a really bad day, you know, you could go out for a drink with the boys and probably end up, you know, getting
you'll
a
be
few
good.
charges. You'll be good.
Yeah, but when you get back home and you're a little tipsy, you start thinking.
You're gonna be regretting it because it didn't actually solve anything. Or you could cross stitch. You could cross stitch or some other hobby that you enjoy. You know, like going for walks. You know, or whatever hobby.
Really.
Whatever hobby is good for you, you know? Everyone's different. I'm more artsy, so I like making things.
That's something, I have a previous video. It's called like, what is becoming? Like literally just like what is, becoming. Great video. You know what I'm saying? I'm obviously suggesting.
Okay, shameless plug.
There's you can like TikTok, Instagram. There's like some older guy. I don't know what he did, but he's like saying he's like. Start something new per se, but it's like whether it's drawing, painting, dancing, sculpting, journaling, reporting, something to experience becoming.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of like ties into like doing something new, but then it's also like allows you to obviously express yourself in a new way, but then like resonate with yourself even more if that.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about all of the things that you love and do consistently today, it's because you tried something new at some point in your life. You literally wouldn't have any of your hobbies or know what you like, what you dislike, if you didn't try it for the first time at some point in your life.
Well, what if your like coach just like made you do it because you did something?
But then you're still trying something new, whether you're forcing yourself to or not. You know? But I think getting to the mindset and the habit of trying something new on your own volition is like, I think it's a good habit to have.
Why do you think people might not try certain like new things per se?
I think it's like a fear of the unknown, you know? We're oftentimes scared of like an outcome that we can't predict. So, I don't know, maybe skydiving, because this is...
Stop, I want...
Maybe skydiving.
Oh my gosh, no, you have no idea. You have no idea. Total side note, my mom took me indoor skydiving for my birthday, and then the moment I did it, I instantly said, I don't care, I want to be jumping out of a plane. Like, instantaneously, I said, I need the real thing. I want to be falling out of the sky, thousands of feet up, like...
Yeah.
I don't know if that sounds crazy or not.
I think it looks like a really cool hobby to have, for sure. I mean, you're going to be aura farming with that, but, like, fear of the unknown. For me, I'm a little hesitant to do something like that, because I don't know if I'm going to die. No idea if I'm just going to go splat on the bottom of, you know, indoor skydiving, and then that'll be one crazy lawsuit that follows suit, you know? Yeah, it's just like we have a fear of danger and a fear of not knowing.
I think it's like a human thing, you know what I mean? Because I've probably said it before, but I know that like one of the biggest, like deepest rooted human fears is like the flat out unknown. And this is like a really, really broad example, but you can use like religion. Nobody knows what happens when your heart stops beating.
That's true.
That's like a huge fear. Nobody knows where you go, what, like it's so it's infinitely
no
unknown.
one knows who the Muffin Man is, or if he's hiding under your bed in the dark. You know,
Might be allergic to muffins.
you might be. I feel really bad for you if you're allergic to muffins, but
I feel like muffins are gas.
muffins are
Banana
really
muffins
good.
are.
You're not wrong.
Okay. Yeah,
You're not
As
wrong.
long as you like don't say anything crazy on that.
You're not wrong. No, banana muffins are really good.
I know. Obviously, you know, I keep up with UFC a lot. Half of the time I'm in here watching it. It just depends on what's happening.
This is true.
And a lot of the fighters talk about sometimes they have fear, but then it's like I think an example. Don't quote me on this, by the way, guys. But there's a fighter out there. His name's Tom Aspinall. He says, I think he said, there's some fighter out there who says that when every fight he's scared, or like fear or anxious or something. How do you think like we can like help get over that? Because a lot of like professional people, they'll tell you like, oh yeah, I do get anxious, I do get nervous, but then obviously I feel like the anxiousness kind of goes away like once you start. Like for fighters, for example, and I'm not a fighter, so I can't say anything, but like maybe they're nervous during camp, but then like the moment they step in the octagon, you know, you just lock in. And I can say like with football, I'd be nervous before every game, but the moment I step on the field, it just goes away. But I think that's not necessarily like anxiety or fear per se. I think what I'm trying to get at is like people fear doing something new, but they at the same time don't know how to get over it. I don't know if that makes sense.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. That's why complacency is such a big issue today.
Was it kind of like being stagnant where you're at?
Yeah, being stagnant, being in limbo, not like I guess like getting comfortable, but almost too comfortable with where you currently are in life. It prevents you from taking leaps that could lead to something really, really good or really, really bad, you know, because again, you're just worried about the outcome that could potentially be negative, but it could be very positive, you know.
Do you think it's just like I don't know, so I see like, I think the analogy I was trying to make like the fighter's perspective is it's like, you have to use that fear to like go. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, yeah, they might be anxious before the fight or anxious before the football game, but then it's like you have to like use that fear to like motivate you. But I don't know if like I hear it a lot, but it's like I try to think about it within myself, and I'm like, how the hell do I do that? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't. You know, what would your take maybe be for like how to get over that fear and to just like
to convert fear into motivation?
But that's the hard part. Maybe. Question mark.
That is a good question. Yeah.
Because I hear it a lot, but then like I can use an example of like me in the gym. I'm not the strongest guy. I know we haven't like worked out like at the same time per se, but like I'll do my own things, and I don't necessarily get a fear that I'm gonna fail the lift. My thought process and like if I don't get it, I don't get it. Obviously, yeah, I could collapse and I could get crushed or whatever it may be. I could squat wrong and then my back like herniated disc or whatever. But it's not like a fear.
Right.
But I think I don't know. How do you think people like convert that fear into like energy? Because I think everything takes energy.
I know a big fear, especially in like the gym context, would be performing in a way that invokes judgment from other people. So if they are trying a new workout, maybe they're trying to bench some heavier weight than what they're used to, I think a lot of people would be very anxious almost because they're like, okay, like what if I can't get it up? I'm gonna look stupid. They're worried about how they are perceived from other people. And I think that is what leads to people not trying to do those in the first place. I think it's a shift in mindset that needs to happen. And I think perhaps surrounding yourself with people that have a better mindset, kind of like how you're saying, like, if I don't get it, I don't get it.
Simple.
You're not thinking, oh, I'm gonna look so stupid, I'm not gonna show my face. Like, some people have genuine, like, anxiety when it comes to...
Like social anxiety.
Yeah, exactly. Just fear of being judged. So surrounding yourself with non-judgmental people will most likely help change your mindset. That's the one thing I can think of off the bat. If you don't have a social network, what do you think would be a good way to
get over anxiety per se? Or the
shift your mindset?
I don't know. My big thing is I'm one to question emotions per se. Like when an emotion rises, like sit in it, don't dwell in it. Right? Like sit in that emotion for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Because I'm assuming you've probably heard this saying that like the human brain does not hold on to an emotion longer than like 90 seconds.
I've heard of that, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's very, very true. It's one that you egg it on. So that's why I tell people like sit in that emotion, sit in that anxiety, that fear, but don't let it last longer than like 10 minutes. You know what I mean? I give myself, hey, you hop in the shower, you have to get out the shower to get over this emotion, and if not, figure it the hell out. Because at this point, like that thought process, that fear or that anxiety will like transcend into like your external. You know what I mean? And then you're externally going to be like irritated because you're not over that anxiety that you were in the shower.
You know, it's really funny you say that. I did leadership coaching like last semester, and basically during like these sessions I would sit down with a leadership coach, and they were basically like a therapist, but from a more like what's the right way to frame it? Like from a life coach basically perspective.
Like virtual or online?
Virtual or online?
Well, virtual in person.
Oh,
I only say that
virtual.
because there's a lot. I've seen like a lot of like virtual, like life coaches and stuff.
It was virtual, but it was through like a licensed coach through my school. They were offering the training for free, so I figured why not? It can't hurt anything.
Yeah, might learn something.
But she recommended doing exactly what you were saying about compartmentalizing your emotions. So if something happens, I don't know, like let's say you get dumped or something really negative. You're like, oh man, I'm so sad. I lost her. I fumbled the bag. Whatever, right? Feel that way for however long. Like allow yourself 15 minutes, right? After 15 minutes, or during that 15 minutes, cry as much as you want.
Great.
Right.
Very much.
Get it all out of your system.
All of it, 100%.
Because no matter how much you cry, whether it was for 15 minutes or 30 minutes, it does not change the outcome. So after 15 minutes, you want to give yourself that grace because you're only human. Then you want to actually make an action plan. Okay, what went wrong? What can I learn from this? Like, how can I improve myself now that I don't have this person, now that I'm not under the constraints and obligations of a relationship? Did I really fumble? Like, is this my fault? Then you can start being more logical and like processing how you're feeling instead of just responding emotionally, because humans are very
respond
emotional.
Emotionally before anything.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Absolutely. You get dumped, you get told off at work.
Man, fuck that bitch,
Literally. Yo,
dude, she texted.
We didn't like her anyways. We didn't like her anyways. Yeah. Literally.
This is the first. I'm like, all right, bro, all right.
Literally, yeah, she sucked anyways. Never really felt her vibe. It's funny.
I think it's just like the friend coping thing.
Absolutely.
I hate him people do that. I'm like, that's not.
The
anti-wingman. That's not what I need to hear. It's not what I need to hear. I just need you to listen to me right now, but.
Yeah. Everyone's different. Some people, like, they need to be told that they're not in the wrong. Like, they really the other person's missing out.
Yeah.
They need to hear that. You know. Some people literally just want, like you said, like their own emotions to be heard. Yeah. Compartmentalizing your emotions is very, very helpful for actually like processing more efficiently like how you feel, because we can get stuck on our emotions, especially if it's something really like invoking, like a breakup or something really major. We'll ruminate on that feeling for days, weeks, it'll change how we interact with other people. Maybe we're not as hungry anymore. Maybe we're less motivated to go to the gym, or maybe, you know, for guys, I know this sometimes happens. You get dumped and, oh, I'm finna get so shredded in the gym. I'm finna get so shredded. So it could be good.
A lot of guys hop in their fitness arc after they get
well, like one bad heartbreak and then you're just in there.
It works sometimes.
I mean, hey.
I can't say from personal experience, but
You just haven't got your heart broken like that before.
Hold on now. I don't want to.
Yeah, don't.
I know that is true though, because I like one of the guys in the frat. He talked about how he really liked this girl, and they broke up, and then he got like shredded. And it was probably like the leanest he's ever been.
You know, I feel like it's even worse than getting dumped by like your partner. Is a situationship breakup. That is so much worse, because you almost like can't be angry because you guys were nothing to each other, but you're also everything to each other. You're in like the gray zone. Situationships suck. Like either date or don't date. Don't sign yourself up for that, because that is a genuine heartbreak that that's hard to recover from.
You're real funny, you know that? You're real funny, bro. Let me take a sip of my water.
Yeah.
No, that's not what I meant.
And we've all been there. All of us.
How do you think that like we can like get better with not coming to terms with reality per se, but like coming to terms with our
coping?
Well, no, like, because I think there's a fine line between what your brain wants to tell you versus like what reality wants to tell you. Because I know for sure myself, with everything that's happened recently.
Yeah.
I had thoughts where it's like my brain was coming up with these explanations and wanting to think these certain things. Obviously, whenever I get those thoughts, I just turn it off. I'm like, hey, brother, you're not finna self-delude even more, right? But it's one of those, my brain didn't want to accept what reality was, what my eyes were truly seeing. You know what I mean?
Basically, you're asking, how do I not bask in my delusions?
Well, no, not necessarily, but it's like, how do you just come to terms with reality? Because it's like, I didn't bask in my delusions per se. I like, whenever my brain started being delusional, I'm like, hey, listen, I hear you, I hear what you're thinking about, but I'm not gonna listen to these thoughts because it's just not real. You're lying to yourself to make yourself feel better, but at the same time, I had a hard time just blatantly accepting the real world, accepting reality.
I think this also goes back to social circle. Depending on your social circle and the people that like surround you, if you have friends that kind of feed into those delusions, it's gonna make it a lot harder to come to terms with what actually happened. Versus if you have people around you that hold you accountable, that help you see like, hey, no, like I understand you feel this way, but this is what really happened. That is gonna be a lot more healthy and productive towards you healing than people that are just like,
oh, just kill. Oh,
just yeah, you're fine. Like it didn't even like mean like anything. Like yeah, people that just kind of like downplay and minimize how you feel. It's not what you want to surround yourself with.
How do you think somebody can be a better friend to help not delude?
Just be real.
But I think a lot of people don't want to do that.
Oh, for sure.
Because I've always like made the example that like I claim myself as the therapist in the friend group.
I felt that.
For the last like 5 years I've been in college, you know what I mean? With friends, life gets tough. I'm like, all right, fam, let's sit down and talk about it, you know what I mean? But I always say like, hey, I'm gonna tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Because the last thing I want to do is waste your time. I don't want to make you feel better about yourself. Like I do, but I don't want to make you feel better as in like you're gonna take what I'm saying and run with it. You know what I mean? I'd rather like, this is what you need to hear. How do you think people could just get better at that? Because I feel like, obviously we all care about our friends, but I think it takes a certain someone to like, this is reality, being that friend.
I think you want to be authentic from the beginning, because if you're...
Would you like from the beginning of the friendship or what?
Yeah, because a lot of people, and I don't know if this is just because of like the social circles that my school had with being very like cliquey, and then also like these are people that would be your friends would not actually have your best interests at heart because they're just focused on getting ahead in life.
Or like be cool with you, like acquaintances.
Yeah, exactly. People will kind of put up the facade of what you want to see first in the friendship, typically. At least this is what I've
No, I think that's very agreeable because it's one of those like you can be friends with somebody, but if you don't have a common interest, it's gonna kind of be hard to be friends off rip. So it's like I'm gonna say I like this thing and say I like that thing, you know.
Yeah, and then in reality, you're like, yeah, I've actually like never even played that game. Like,
yeah,
I've literally never played Dota before. I don't even know what it is.
I have friends who like they're really cool into like or they're really big into like racing, and I've tried to like talk like I'm into it, and then it gets to a point where I'm like, I'm gonna be so far. It's not my thing.
Exactly. Or they're like, oh, I really, really love JDM cars. You're like, oh yeah, me too. I always want to go to a car meet.
Name 5 cars. The one that drives fast, the one that's loud.
The one with the pretty eyes.
The one that makes really cool popping noises.
Yeah. I think whenever you do that in the beginning of a friendship with someone, it creates this illusion of, or like this false sense of who you actually are at a deeper level. So if they're so used to you being agreeable, whenever something happens and you got to be there for them at a deeper level, more emotionally, and you have to actually give advice or comfort them, you're gonna be more pressured into giving advice that aligns with the facade they already put up. Versus, if you're genuine from the beginning, like, oh, you like cars? I'm gonna be so real. I don't know anything about cars. We can go to a car meet together though, and you can teach me about them. Versus, oh yeah, I love cars. I know everything about them. If you just lie and just like, it's not genuine. So the same applies whenever you're comforting people or going to people to give you advice. If you're friends with genuine people, they will give you genuine advice. If these people are not genuine to begin with, you will just get a bunch of agreeable people that will tell you what you want to hear. And it depends on the sort of person you are and how you cope with these sorts of things. Maybe in the beginning you like hearing like you're totally not in the wrong at all and it was all their fault and whatever, but at a deeper level,
It's also like one of those, you can only do that to a point, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Because then it's like, I think you're self-deluding them even more, but then it'll also get to a point where it's like, your friend's not going to heal. Your friend's not going to get better if you don't. Hey, brother, we need to talk about this. Yeah.
I think people are also scared of being honest like that because they're scared of ruining friendship or losing the friend. Because if they deliver that too bluntly, too harshly, it could cause a rivet in between them too. So people don't want that. People just want to feel close to another person. So if they're just being agreeable, like, oh no, like, you didn't do anything wrong, like, honestly, like, he just wasn't good for you. He wasn't good for you. Meanwhile, you know that this girl went out and she cheated on him and she did like a whole bunch of other things and you're not addressing that. You're just acting.
You're just getting them further from the way they're supposed to.
Yeah, exactly. Because at that point, I mean, if he went out and cheated on your man 3 times, and then he broke up with you, he's not the problem. He's just not.
Because then your friend might be like, oh, but they're so much better than him. Like, brother, you're not going to acknowledge the fact that you cheated on him.
Right, like, let's... Because if you can acknowledge it, I feel like the best friends are the ones that are honest. They're the ones that are going to be like, yo, you got to get your stuff together.
You can't cheat on him 3 times.
You can't be doing that. You don't want to be for the streets.
I don't think anybody does. What would you say your personal experience with self-betterment's been? Also, the title of the video is going to be called Self-Betterment's Hard But Not Impossible.
That's good.
Yeah.
My own experience. I think self-improvement. I think there's like 2 types of self-improvement. I think there's self-improvement that you do because you genuinely want to do something for yourself. And there's the self-improvement that comes from other people kind of pressuring you into becoming a better version of yourself. So your motivation is coming from 2 different sources. One is strictly yourself, and another one is from other people. I would say from like middle school / high school all the way through to like maybe halfway through college, I'd say it was like the type of self-improvement that stemmed from other people telling me like, hey, like you should really do this with your life, which obviously I was still living my life how I wanted to live it, but I was trying to live it in a way that was righteous and approvable
to there's like more
to
of
others.
a social influence rather than a
Exactly.
personal influence.
Exactly. Now that I've graduated and I realize I'm like, okay, I am my own person. Like, I have so much freedom now, so much free will to do what I want to do. So I think that the journey I'm on right now is self-improvement on my own terms, not because someone else is telling me, hey, you should get in the gym. Like, no, I'm going because I want to go. Yeah. Like, for me, my why is because, like, I've never been, like, the super athletic kid. I was the fine arts kid, you know, that was, like, in choir and dance and, like, all that stuff. Like,
Tennis.
And tennis.
Tennis.
Okay, that's true. I
Tennis.
was low-key an athlete for, like, a year.
In another universe, you're like a D1 tennis player.
Oh, this universe, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, this
My
universe.
bad.
But, yeah, so I think, you know, it's also like kind of challenging switching between self-improvement with motivation coming from other people to yourself, because you got to figure out what really drives you. So it's like you mentioned earlier, finding your deeper why. For me, physical fitness now on my own terms is because like I feel like I've never been able to do it well enough to a point where I like it, you know? I, of course, passed all the PE tests and whatever, because...
The pacer test, the push-ups, the sit-ups.
Yeah, exactly. Well, maybe not the sit-ups, but, you know, the pacer test, that was my jam.
Really?
That was my
I hated the pacer test.
I was always, like, one of the last people.
I never wanted to do it, because you know how they organize it? Alright, if you're gonna, like, go for medium time, go now. If you're gonna get out fast, go now. If you're gonna stay for a while, go.
Mm-hmm.
I like never wanted to do it, so I'd always like wait till the last minute. But I was like, I'm not gonna go that long. But I don't know. But I think it's kind of interesting that you say that like your experience with self betterment has been like from external rather than internal.
Mm-hmm.
And I said it's like interesting because mine's like hard opposite. I've always wanted to like do things for myself to prove to myself and like be able to look back when I'm 120 and I'd be like, oh, I did all of these things for me.
That's really good though. I think that's a good mindset to have. I think I'm just now starting to adopt it. I think it also depends on your own personality and like where you seek what is the word I'm looking for?
It's probably a big word.
Not validity.
Reassurance.
It's kind of like reassurance. Where do you seek?
Yeah, it's kind of like validity and reassurance.
Oh my gosh, what is the word? Validation. Oh, that was really close to validity. Yeah. Yeah, where you seek validation in the world, or how you seek it, right? So, if you need validation from other people to feel like you're, you know, doing things right or whatever, then maybe you will have like more of your self-improvement motivations coming from other people. Or if you're a people pleaser, that's gonna lead you to turning to other people for motivation and like, you know, inspiration. I think if you've never really been that type to like care too much about what other people think, you're gonna have more of like the selfish mindset where you're thinking like, okay, like I'm gonna do this for me because I want to do it. Yeah.
Because I know I can say like, from my standpoint, I'm very much in the I want to do this for me to prove to myself, but I'm also a huge people pleaser. I've literally put my personal emotions second to somebody else because I know if I do this certain thing, the other person would be happier. I will genuinely feel worse within myself, but I'm doing it for somebody else. why do you think people are like such people pleasers sometimes? Because I think it's like weird how like not. I think it's interesting that you made that point because it's like I'd say I'm both. I'm very big on I want to do it for myself, but I'm a very big people pleaser to the point where I literally will put myself second.
I think at the end of the day, and this happens like ever since childhood, we want to feel accepted in whatever environment we're in. We want to feel like we're a part of something larger than just ourselves. We want community. And social validation is directly connected to that. You know, I could think maybe like in the context of middle school or high school, you know, probably like a lot of the things that you were into or a lot of the things that you like, I guess like tried to figure out were heavily influenced by that want to like kind of fit in and like not be the odd kid out.
Yeah. Yes, very.
So I think that is where like this crave for social validation comes from. I think it's like a childhood ideal that we carry with us into adulthood, and then we see it kind of affecting how we function like in our everyday.
Would you say it's maybe like, because I think in middle school we don't necessarily acknowledge it per se, because it's kind of like in middle school you get that one game on your phone because everybody has it. You listen to that one artist because everybody listens to it. So would you say it's like going into high school and college and transitioning out, it's not acknowledging that per se, which is why somebody might continue that self-validation, or where do you think that like transition might occur?
I think for me, I think I started figuring out more about myself when I got to college.
Very agreed. I think that's go to college if you want to better yourself and learn about yourself. I think that's one of the huge things college does. Is it
stay in school, kids.
It really teaches you who you are. Like I would be, I don't know. I think a lot of people say they'd probably be in the same spot in life if they didn't go to college. But I think it's very true. You meet so many people, so many different classes, so many different things you learn. If you're on like a self-betterment path or whatever it may be, or you want to understand yourself, I recommend going to college for sure.
I absolutely hated middle school, hated high school, like with a passion. College is nothing like high school at all. It is so different. You're actually treated like a person for one, right? You don't feel like you have to fit in everywhere you go. There are groups of people for you. If you are a geek, you can go to a geek school. That's what I did. I went to a nerd school, and I just started like blossoming into, you know, the young woman that I am now. High school, you're just like, you're surrounded by so many
characters.
So many characters. And you feel like you have to constantly like fit in, like you can't be different, and that is very harmful. So yeah, go to college.
You know the funny thing that I think about like the high school comparison, I've never been friends with a weird kid. Wait, no, listen.
I know that ain't true. I know that's not true.
No, you know, like every class has the weird kid, right? The kid, like, we had one kid who, nobody used their lockers, but we had one kid, his locker was literally full of nothing but oranges. Swear.
That is a little odd, I can't lie.
His locker was full of nothing but oranges.
What?
He would always run to every single class the moment the bell rang, Naruto run specifically.
That's funny, I can't lie.
Yeah, during COVID, after we got back, he wore the same mask every day. I didn't really care about that, but the only reason I'm saying that is because his mask, like, it honestly got really dirty. And we were like, dog, you ever wash it? But I also went to the really ignorant high school.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
but it was like, I've always acknowledged a weird kid because I think something that like that I don't even like calling them the weird kid, but it's just like a stereotype. I think something that they see and they acknowledge that probably the rest of people don't is that they don't care if anybody sees them weird. He does not care that people are thinking his locker full of oranges is weird. he doesn't care that he's gonna he doesn't care that people are gonna look at him weird and record him for running like Naruto to class. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's something in that, even being a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, that he understands within himself that is separate from. I could care less about being like you guys. I'm gonna do me because I want to do me. You know what I mean?
I think it's interesting too because like in high school, I think if I would have seen that, I would have been like, oh yeah, this. You know,
Oh no, 100%. I
kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I remember the day he opened his locker, all the orange foot. I was like, oh, what the hell? And then like everybody got their phones out, and started recording him instantly. I just went to class because I'm like, I'm not
That's
gonna
the
be late.
thing though. I feel like high school, again, you're just so focused on fitting in that you adopt the same mindset of conformity that other people have. So even if you didn't think that that was super weird in the beginning, if you hear other people judging this guy all the time, you're gonna be like, okay, yeah, actually that is kind of weird. But I kid you not, the weirdos in college
Coolest
have
people.
the best personality.
Coolest people.
They are the coolest. The people that really don't care and are like authentically themselves every day. Like, those are the coolest people to be friends with.
Do you think it's hard to find people like that? And I'm gonna use myself as an example, but not that I'm a weird kid, because I've been in sports my whole life, so it's like I've never met a weird kid who's been in sports.
Weird, by the way.
That's, hey, I'm not mad. But like, I think like the stereotypical weird kid used to be like the kid who watched anime, right?
That's true. Now it's so mainstream.
Right, and I try to make the comparison that like the
It's
weird
weird if
kid.
you don't watch it now.
I'm trying to put her on, guys. I'm trying to put her on. We watched episode 1 of Kotaro Lives Alone because I don't know if she likes crazy deep stories or if she just needs like a 12 episode life changing banger. But we watched episode 1 of Kotaro Lives Alone. I'm gonna see if I can get her to watch a little bit more. I don't know.
I can probably, yeah, that was a cute little anime.
Alright, okay.
Yeah, just no One Piece.
Yeah, no, I'm not even.
I have me in tears.
But I think that like the reason I try to like draw myself into the comparison of like the weird kid aspect per se is because like I use my tattoos as an example. I have I have 4 anime tattoos, right? And the reason I like trying to draw this comparison is because I think all of my tattoos, like in depth, I can make a 3-hour long video explaining all of them. But I think the thing is that like my tattoos, and yes, they may half of them may be anime tattoos and half of them are words. It's something that is truly authentic to who I am and is deeply, thoroughly explains like who I am.
Yeah.
And I could give you like a whole spiel about it, where somebody might be like, "I got it because it looks cool." Nothing wrong with that by any means. I think if you think that tattoo looks cool, get it. Question it later. But I think there's something a little bit different that like I don't have 4 anime tattoos for a reason. You know what I mean?
Of
And I'm
course.
not scared to show it at all. But I think there's like a fine line between trying to like externalize that. Maybe I don't know if that makes sense.
I agree. I think with the school that I went to as well, public perception is everything. It was so big that some people wouldn't even like date or be friends with other people that were like, in their opinion, unattractive. Like they would only be friends with the hot people.
Right.
Because again, public perception is everything. If they're seen in public together, they care a lot about not just how they're perceived, but how they're perceived with other people. So I think that finding people that are authentic to themselves and just don't care about what other people think can be rare. But there are some majors where they are more prevalent. Psychology is probably up there. Theater is definitely up there. I'd say like the psych kids and the theater kids, they're your best bet. Then you got like music, really just fine arts.
The arts, yeah.
The arts, yeah.
Because I think you could probably, I think I want to say, if you weren't an arts kid, you probably looked at the arts kid as weirdos.
Absolutely.
I can 1,000% agree.
Absolutely.
And then being that person now, like the president of my frat, his girlfriend is an arts kid. Like overly into it, but she's also like one of the coolest, most genuine people I've ever met. You know what I mean?
Because if you think about it, like the correlation makes sense because fine arts is all about self-expression. So
1,000%.
yeah, I think for me, like, how I was able to spot the really cool people was through fashion. So I had a very distinct way of dressing. As you know.
Fun fact, that's actually the whole reason we became friends. Our middle school had a dress code. I got a haircut, I got a design in it 'cause it's middle school. Why the hell would I not get a design? You weren't allowed to have designs in your hair. And she had this humongous blue dress on when our dress code was like collared shirt, khaki pants, or khaki shorts. And then we both got dress coded literally all day. And then we're like, hey, so like
4 times in a row walking down the same hallway. Like, one teacher literally watched me get dress coded by this one and then proceeded to tell me again. It was so dumb. So you're allowed to wear skirts, and then I was dress coded another time for wearing a maroon skirt because maroon wasn't an approved color.
It's not.
Not the length of the skirt, the color.
It wasn't our color.
I was like, you pulled me out of class for this? Is my skirt that distracting? Crazy. That was a cool, you know what's so funny though, is that was literally a school uniform dress.
Really?
Yeah. It was literally, Burlington, like, if you go, like, they have, like, a little, like, school uniform section. It was literally there. That's where I got it from. So, I don't know.
We came home and then my mom, like, filled my design in with, like, her makeup.
So dumb.
Then I still got dress coded. I was like, guys, it's, like, a lot less visible.
And see, that is very interesting, too. Even at an institutional level, and I'm going to bring in my soci degree here, too, right?
Told you guys, she's smart.
If we look at a higher level, right, we look at schools, high schools, right? The dress code exists. And it exists in such a way that limits self-expression. You can't be creative. I couldn't wear a dress just because it was simply against the policy.
Because it wasn't khaki pants.
Because it wasn't the same as what everyone else was wearing. I couldn't wear my maroon skirt to class because it's not the same color that everyone else is wearing. You couldn't have a cool design in your hair because it wasn't the same as everybody else. So since we are at a young age, we are trained and almost taught that being different is bad. We're literally reprimanded for it. We're sent home for having clothing or hair designs or makeup that differentiates from what people should be wearing. And then you look even deeper. Who's making these rules? Who's making the policies? I can tell you guys what. It's no one near our age. It's all really, really old people that are very cemented in their ways of thinking, you know? So it's just very fascinating because we're literally institutionally trained that being different is bad. And then when you get to college, people start flourishing. Everyone's different because there is no dress code. There is no, I can literally rock up to class in a ball gown, which I have done several times. During finals week, you best bet I'm coming in a full Cinderella gown because everyone is all depressed. This makes people smile, and it makes me feel great because I don't feel like I look dead because I just stayed up the whole night before.
And I can say the exact opposite, where I've flat out rocked some black slippers that may or may not have had a hole in the bottom of them, in some pajamas, and in a bonnet, and in a jacket.
And a lot of people do, and you know what?
That's honestly really common. I think that's like hilarious.
It's so common. Like, the amount of people that showed up in PJs to class, especially towards the end of the last
You're
semester.
just ready to go. You're
so done.
Dog, I could care less for dressing. I just want to go to class and leave.
I'm not gonna lie, my last semester, I was like, yeah, I'm ready to be gone.
It's comfy though.
It is comfy.
Would you say that like the standard of looking the same and having to do this and having to do that transitions to, not transitions to college, because I think it doesn't transition to college in terms of like everybody's their own person, but transitions as in like have to wear the same clothes, have to do this. Would you say that affects trying to understand yourself more because you got so accustomed to following the guidelines and looking the same?
I think so. I think it can make people more hesitant to experiment with anything different. Because if you're trained since a young age to think that different means bad, or different means like an outcast, why would you feel compelled to wear your hair different?
Would you say that ties into fear? To kind of talk back out of that earlier.
I think it can be fear. I think it's more of like a social fear because you don't know how people are going to respond to you trying something new. Like for me, like my first 2 years of college, I was really into Harajuku fashion, which is like it's a very niche way of dressing in Japan, right? So it's like really poofy dresses, really like kawaii themed, like, fashion. And I would be so real. I look at photos of me like back then wearing that. I'm like, what on earth was I thinking? Like that, no. But at the time, I didn't care. I was like, I felt so happy. I felt so pretty in my petticoat, walking to class just regularly. I felt so cool. But it all takes trial and error. It just takes a lot of trial and error.
I think that's what a lot of colleges is trial and error.
I had a lot of people, especially like my mom, tell me like, yeah, that does not look good. And now I was delusional. I thought it looked amazing. It in fact did not. It really didn't. I really dropped the ball there.
But it was one of those like, you felt comfortable in it. It was part of who you were. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got a lot of compliments too. Especially from people that like, praise me for being more authentic and not caring. And after that trial and error, guys, I did find some pretty good fashion sense.
I did take a step up.
Oh, a big step up because I realized that whole aesthetic was just not for me.
Yeah. I think that's something I'm growing out of. I love the baggy clothes, the graphic tees, but I like something about throwing on like a collared shirt and wearing a belt and some slacks. I just feel cool.
You feel different.
I feel cool. I feel so productive.
I'm telling you.
I've talked about it in videos where I've recorded videos. It's pin attire days, which is like you wear pin attire for the frat, which is basically just like business professional.
Yeah.
And I'll wear it in videos to like force myself to make the video because I'm like, okay, if I change out of this, my motivation is gonna drop like 30%.
That's how I was. That's why I always dressed up. This was the rule I had for college specifically. The worse I felt, the fancier I dressed. Which is finals week. I felt like absolute garbage. I'm anxious. I'm stressed beyond belief. I'm running off no sleep. Throw a ball gown on. Because you associate fancy ways of dressing with feeling better. With feeling like your best, most social, most productive self. So that's like kind of the rule that I had. Which is why I just made it a habit of dressing nice. There's certain things I stop buying. I literally don't own a sweatshirt. I don't own jeans.
She's not lying.
No shorts.
She's not lying.
I'm so serious. My whole closet is literally dresses. I have a couple skirts and then like jumpsuits. That's it. So even on like a poopy day, all I gotta do is throw on a business jumpsuit, and that's it. And then I'm chilling, and I look good, and I can feel better subconsciously because I feel like I look good on the outside. So the perceptions of me change. So.
Would you say if somebody who's like lacking motivation or kind of like they're in a weird spot in life where they want to do more but something internally feels off, would you say that like maybe holding yourself to a higher standard as in like just dressing a little bit better may like help them get more motivation or want to try to strive to do more?
I think for different people it's different.
Well, like a broad sense, but yeah.
In a broad sense, yeah. I would say, because something as little as just what you decide to put on your body to wear during that day has a really big impact, I have found, on how you feel throughout the day. If I'm in PJs, I'm going to feel a lot more lazy, a lot more... Yeah, but just want to go to bed.
Because I can even say, like, on days that I wear nicer clothes, I kind of just feel like walking around campus, just, like, not even doing anything. I just want to...
Because then you're like, I look so good. Yeah, someone's got to see this outfit.
And I go to the library. Am I getting anything in the library? No. I'm gonna go print one singular paper that I actually don't need. But wearing those nicer clothes, I feel more inclined to do stuff. I feel
more productive.
I feel like I can achieve more.
Because maybe when you get there, it'll change your mind. You'll be like, actually, I can study for like 10 minutes. I can pick this random book off the shelf and read it for 5, it motivates you to do things that you hadn't originally planned. And so that's why building a habit or like looking good and feeling good is very, very crucial. I've found that's how I survived my college years.
How do you think somebody can better their motivation? Because I can say personally, I talked to my mom about this. Probably like I think she came in the room like sometime last week and just asked how I was doing and what I had my whiteboard and I was talking about the whiteboard. And I told her in all honesty that like I've kind of been struggling with motivation the last about a week or so. It's like slowly been getting better. You know, I've tried to hold myself
Those
to
should be the past few days.
No, it's like
Whoops.
you gotta have those moments though. You know what I mean?
It's true.
But I've tried. Like I told her that like I've been struggling with motivation the last couple of weeks, and then I've tried to just do a little bit more for myself to get it better. But I'm sure there's like somebody out there who they want to improve themselves. They want to be the best version of themselves, but they just have no motivation.
I think when that happens, one thing that I do myself is I revisit my current needs. Because I'm like, okay, if I'm not feeling motivated, why? Is it because I'm tired? Do I need to just sleep? Maybe taking a nap or maybe getting an early night's rest? That can do wonders. That can do so good for you. Or I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not feeling motivated to really do anything because I'm feeling like my social life is lacking. Have I gone out lately? Have I interacted with other people? If not, on a game, socialize, go out, talk to your friends. Or if it's like clothing, I'm like, okay, well, I've been, wearing these PJs like all day, haven't really gone anywhere. Maybe just change your outfit, and then maybe that will boost your mood. Or hygiene, take a shower, like revisit your current needs as a means of understanding why you're not feeling motivated.
So would you say try to like, because like what I did for myself was like, would you say try to question that lack of motivation per se?
Yeah, definitely. Because I think if you can question it, then you can understand like the root cause of why you're not feeling motivated and what can help you feel motivated again. So I think for me, like past like 3 days, we've not been gymming. I think I just like needed to revisit some of my more like immediate needs that I wasn't getting, like actually like de-stressing, as a means of like getting it back, And then also, kind of what we were talking about earlier, like finding your deeper why, guys. Find your why.
I'm telling you. This is a side note, but I journaled this morning and I posted it on my Instagram. I'm just gonna read it to you guys, and I guess read it to you.
Yes.
Because I think it honestly, it was a lot. But basically, like yesterday, I had a pretty good day. Obviously, aside from when you called me, like blew my high.
Mine had so much banging on the
good.
door, FBI style.
One of the things that I do before I go to the gym is I'll sit in the car, try to get a feel of whatever. Like I try to find music that kind of helps whatever I'm feeling. Sometimes it's rock, like hard screamo rock, like Asking Alexandria, or it might be a lot more chill, like 3 Days of Grace, or it might be like trap, or it might be Sauce-Walka. It might be some These Sinners, you know what I'm saying? It might be some Ella Fitzgerald, you know what I mean? Or it might be like some what's his name? Hello? Daniel Caesar, right? I will sit in the car for like 5 to 10 minutes, music full blast, to just feel whatever, right? She called me because someone was banging on the door, and it kind of blew my high because I was like locked in, I was finna go in, boom, she called. Fast forward, killed the vibe. Not her fault. Somebody was at our house, right? And then kind of after that, I kind of just started feeling weird the rest of the day. I went to the gym, like after I got in there, I was like, hey dude, figure it out. But fast forward, I came home, and this is like really where it shifted, right? And this is where I'm gonna read the note, right? Basically though, I was scrolling before I hopped in the shower. I was like scrolling on TikTok, because I'll get bored and like go through my repost. Because a lot of it's like self-betterment. I was just scrolling through it, and it was a lot of self-betterment, positivity, live life, be happy, be nice to strangers. But then like inside, I got like a really weird feeling inside. I have no idea what it was. I was like, am I sad, or like am I happy, or do I feel motivated, or I don't know what it was. So fast forward, I hop in the shower. I just sat there, literally, for like 5 minutes. I didn't even wash myself. I just literally just sat there. I swear. But what I journaled, what I wrote down, and this was like after I scrolled through the TikToks, right, feeling whatever this weird emotion was. What I wrote today, and you can just see this talks about how I like leave a chunk of space. You can't see it because it's really far, but you get the point. Anyways, what I wrote was, I cried in the shower. And to be honest, it reminded me of a lot of things I forgot. My why. I will be great because they aren't here, or because they aren't able to witness it. And then I probably love you to myself. But I kind of think it was one of those, like, sitting with that emotion, how we talked about earlier, and then kind of like questioning it, you know what I mean? I sat there and I was thinking to myself, I was like, what are these emotions you're feeling? I was like, why do you feel like you want to cry? Why do you feel like you want to cry? Like, yesterday was a really good day. Granted, I didn't do a whole lot, but it was like, I went to the gym, I felt really strong, I hit my flow state and I felt really good. But then I came home, and then I was like, dog, what are these emotions, right? And then fast forward, I sat there and I was sitting there telling myself, thinking, and I was like, the thought that had hit me was like, I want to be great. I want to be great. I want to be great. And then just whoosh, then the tears came out. But it was one of those, like, confront that thing inside me that felt off and just let my mind wander, let my mind do what it needs to do. And then I think through sitting with that, through letting my mind wander, that's what triggered that I want to be great, which ultimately triggered the reminder of why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. Fun fact, I cried in the shower yesterday.
I know. hey, we all have our crying moments. My gosh.
It's almost like Kotaro saying you should cry. Crying is not a sign of weakness.
That's true, it is not. Sometimes we physically need to cry to help regulate our emotions. Like, it actually helps so much, especially if you have a habit of bottling things up until they overflow. Just blocking out a time, like, yeah, I need to cry. I'm gonna go cry for like the next 5 minutes. You feel so much better afterwards.
So I can say I did. Granted, like, I didn't hop on the game. I went to sleep, honestly, kind of like early, but that was because like I wanted to get up early, whatever. She snores. I don't know if you guys can hear her, but I don't know. I definitely agree though, because it's like one of those. After I cried, I like reevaluated my why. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure I've told you I've had like a lot of death in my life. A lot. The obvious one. I've said this before. My grandma passed the day before I graduated high school. I don't wish it on anybody. It sucks. And I think that was like the first big why, which is what this tattoo is for. I don't know if you guys can see. I know you can. And it's a constant reminder to myself that like, hey, you know, your grandma didn't even get to see you graduate high school, right? So you have to do these things because it's like I wrote. She isn't here to witness it, right? She isn't going to be here to witness me be great, to be the person that I want to be. And then another one last year, I'm an only child, and I'm not going to talk about it too much, but there was a very, very big moment last year between me and my mom that like quite literally altered my brain chemistry, like, to put it simple. And that was one of those that kind of added to my why, you know what I mean? But I think like I forget that sometimes. So like yesterday when I was crying in the shower, I kind of got reminded. I was like, hey, don't forget that your grandma passed. Use the fact that your grandma passed to be great. She's not going to see you do anything, so be great for her. Use the thing that you and your mom talked about to be great because like nobody's going to see it, you know what I mean?
And even with people that have passed away, obviously, you know, I have my own backstory with death and losing very close people. I think it can be compelling as well if you keep in the back of your mind that they are there with you spiritually, and they're like, they're looking down on you, even if you're not super religious, like, it's still comforting to know, like, okay, like, would this family member of mine approve of what I'm doing, of how I'm living my life? You know, would they want me to push myself? Would they tell me, okay, maybe, you know?
I think that's good. I haven't thought about it like that.
Mm-hmm.
I know for certain if I thought about that, how would my grandma feel if I did this? She'd be like, you better not fucking do that.
Exactly. You
not.
start living your life a little differently.
Yeah.
And that's why it goes back to what I mentioned earlier about there being two types of self-improvement and where your motivation comes from yourself or from other people, and that sort of pressure and expectations that they have for you. So.
But would you say it's like a social pressure? Like, not obviously, like, yes, a social pressure, but like, my grandma was. I'm gonna be biased and say I was her favorite grandkid.
Okay.
But the reason I think the example I'm trying to get at is like she would, I without a shadow of doubt, if she was here, she would tell me to take that risk. She would tell me to do the difficult things. She would encourage me to be great. But I think it's one of those, like, I think what I'm trying to get at is it's different per person. Like, obviously, yes, there's the social expectation. Like, my grandma's life is not my life, so that's somebody else's influence controlling my self-betterment, but it's how she would go about the self-betterment, which makes the difference with the social influence, if that makes sense.
I think it's also important to know that, for example, if you did something and your grandma would disapprove of it, right? That disapproval comes from somewhere. It could come from a regret that she has in her own life, or a lesson that she's learned in her own life, that she wants to kind of give to you. Maybe she tried something similar and she had a really horrible outcome, and so she does not want to see you go on the same path to, you know, obviously prevent you from suffering and experiencing the same thing that she did. So people approve and disapprove of things for different reasons.
Because I think, like, even like a relative example that I think a lot of people can relate to is like your mom or dad telling you, hey, don't do that, because they
definitely
did it and they know how it works out. Yeah.
Exactly. Don't do drugs, kids. Meanwhile, you know that your parents were probably like,
no, they got a couple drug charges and
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, or don't drink alcohol, it's bad for you, but they drink themselves. You know, everyone has a vice, of course. You know, so.
You know, Darren told me I should make a video about vices.
Vices. Maybe that'd be the next one.
I asked him though, I was like, hey, what do you think like a self-betterment or whatever should be? And he was saying like people and like in their vices and like kind of how to go about them and regulating them, but like why do you have this specific one that you have? I think that's a good one, but that's definitely like I'd have to do a lot more research or definitely have to have another person because I feel like there's only so much I could probably talk about in that.
I think so, yeah. There's we could talk about some like the most common addictions, you know, especially among like college age kids.
Watch I was talking to her about this earlier. I started Chainsmoker Cat today. I'm on the second episode. First episode's really weird. If you've seen it, you know. You haven't seen it, first episode, they just throw you in. They don't care. But I think to like draw back to the like current standing of like people our age and addictions, it's one of those. It's like I can preach anime all day long. You already know this, but it's one of those. It talks about some very serious things that people can relate to. That maybe like talking to somebody else, they may not feel comfortable talking to somebody else, but they can watch something and then relate to it. I think that makes sense.
I can agree with that.
What do you think the main thing, because we're probably at a solid chunk of time by now, what do you think the main thing people truly struggle with when it comes to self-improvement is? Like the one takeaway?
I think the biggest thing people struggle with is redefining their own mental boundaries. I think this is the biggest thing I've struggled with.
You're definitely gonna have to elaborate on that.
Yeah, like the biggest thing that I've struggled with, for example, like in working out, is training my mind that the boundaries that I had set, or like my limits, are not actually real. Like
setting the bar too high.
No, not necessarily. Okay, because I guess like going into it, like I didn't think I could ever like get in shape at all. That was the boundaries and the limits that I had in my mind.
Are you saying like that's where the bar was set per se?
That's where it was set.
I'm following.
I think retraining where that like boundary is to improve it and actually like push beyond what you think you're physically capable of doing, that is the biggest boundary that I've seen.
So would you say like not that the bar's set too high, but the bar has the wrong title to it?
I think like we have so many labels and like we have so many like limits on like what we think we can do. So kind of like switching out of that way of thinking and being able to like think beyond just like what you originally thought you were capable of doing, that's very difficult, you know?
Because I definitely agree. I think having to change, like, obviously like changing your mindset is hard, but having to like come to terms with, hey, I have to change my mindset is like the hardest part.
Because I think with the gym, it's a lot of mental, like, like trying not to die on the treadmill, like in reality, you're fine. Physically, you can keep going. Mentally, you're like, oh my god, I'm dying. Oh my god, this is
tired,
so painful.
I'm
tired. I want to go home.
Food sounds good.
Literally, like, dude, like Chipotle sounds amazing right now. It's like a battle between like your physical self and your mental self. That is the biggest hurdle that I have found so far. It's trying to rewire my brain to think differently, so that way I'm not limiting myself internally.
Do you think self-expression could help with rewiring your brain? Or what is that? Or how would you? I think it's probably the last question we'll ask, and we'll probably end the video. For somebody who wants to rewire their brain, so they can go to the gym more, or so they can go to the run club or go to the dance class, for rewiring their brain, getting out of that loophole that they're stuck in, what would you tell them? Or what would you suggest?
I'm still trying to figure out like how to do it all the way. I think for me it's helped having some guidance, you know. So like instead of just going to the gym by myself, not knowing what I'm doing, going with someone that can kind of push me, you know, to do lunges when I'm already dying from the leg day I had like 2 days before. You know? Having someone to physically push you, it physically shows you like, okay, wow, like if you did it all and you really put your mind to it, like wow, I actually did that. Versus if I would have went with myself, would I got nowhere near as intensive a workout.
What if you feel like you don't have somebody? Because I think that's
somebody.
I think that's like,
yeah.
I preach a lot how I'm my only child and it's only me and my mom. So I think that's like one of my biggest things is I've always felt like I haven't had somebody.
Yeah.
But I think it's like, that's why I like the title of the video. Self-improvement's hard, but it's not impossible.
It's
and
not
I think that's why we
impossible.
have like two different standpoints. I've been self-improvement by myself, and I think it's so unbelievably hard. But it's not impossible. Isn't even how your example, you're in your self-improvement bag right now, but you have another person showing that it is possible.
Yeah. I think, I don't know about like solo, because like for me, I get inspiration from other people. I feel like other people help me redefine my own boundaries and my own like limitations that I've set for myself internally. So even like that's kind of like the issue I'm running into now, because you're gonna be going away. I'm gonna be back to solo, yeah, and I'm trying to figure that out.
My mom works, so she can't really help.
I know, yeah, I'm trying to figure that out, because I feel like I train better, I learn better when I have at least one other person. So I'll probably look at like maybe run clubs, or I was in a run club actually in high school. Believe it or not, I was.
How'd that work out?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's funny that you said that. I'm actually gonna do a run club when I go back to school.
Really?
Yeah. Someone like I think the school reposted it and I like followed it. And I'm gonna start that when I go back.
That's nice. I want to try and find people, other people here that can help like contribute to that growth, because I don't want it to stop, you know. Obviously, like while you're still here, we can keep going, but when you're gone, you know, I gotta figure that out. I feel like finding a social network where I can, whether it's through running clubs or personal training. I'm not really looked into that, to be honest. Something would be nice. Or switching the way that I exercise. So maybe finding like YouTube videos or something like that. I've kind of already started doing that a little bit. Not full on workouts, because I just wanted to get into the habit of like doing something every day.
Yeah.
So I found a 10-minute video on how to get your splits, and every night before going to bed, I do a little bit of stretching, and that is helping me like, you know, get into like the habit of, you know, going to YouTube, finding these videos like help me better myself, and you know.
Would you say that's like the slow transition into like you preparing for you doing it on your own?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Because I eventually want to get to the point where like I can do it fully like on my own and like be able to push myself the same. So I'll do that, and then I'll also practice my planks as well. So I'll do a few planks.
Hey, abs ain't gonna build himself.
I mean, yeah, it's true. But yeah, understanding your deeper why, guys, very, very important, and keeping
Cry in the shower if you need to, my brother.
Yes, cry in the shower.
Male, female, fish, black, white, yellow, purple, green.
I don't know how fish cry, but especially in the shower, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have any closing comments?
Be yourself. Be yourself.
Unapologetic. Don't give a fuck what
Yes.
anybody in the world thinks.
Yeah.
We have a hard cap on time that we're on this massive ball.
It's true.
Why would you not be yourself? You're not being authentic to yourself if you're doing that.
It's true. It's true. Stop living your life to make other people happy. You have to start living for yourself sooner or later. Because at the end of the day, you are the only person who has to live your life. So if you're going to school right now, and I know a lot of people did this, especially at my uni, they literally studied what their parents wanted them to study or what their parents would pay for, and they were studying computer science, and they hated it. They hated every class. I had a roommate. She was a comp sci major in this situation, and she came home every day from classes and just bawled her eyes out. And I could literally hear her crying every day without fail at the same time. Like, it's never that serious. Study what you want to study. If you want to be a musician, then study it and then figure it out afterwards. You know, like for me, I came in, I was an astrophysics major, and then I realized I hated physics. I loved space, but I hated physics, and I was just so bad at it. So bad. It's like, yeah.
This is just hard. I took it in 7th
grade. Literally.
Oh my gosh, that was so
Dude,
tough.
my physics class in high school was literally remote too, which like just did not prepare me for college level physics. And like, I don't know why, I just couldn't understand kinematics for the life of me. Like 2D, no, it was not happening. And so then I switched to engineering because I wanted to do something that people would perceive as difficult and like
But would you
a
say
smart
that
people
still
major.
ties into you literally said it, people.
Yep,
Yeah,
people
yeah.
pleasing. It's tied into people pleasing because I wasn't happy. And then after 2 full years in uni, it was like second semester of my sophomore year. That's when I was like, you know what? Let me take a class that I want to take for myself. And then I'll be the class that people look at right away and go, oh wow, you're so smart. If I studied computer science, people would be like, wow, you're so smart. Or like engineering, or like, I don't know, neuroscience. People would think you're amazing, you know? I was like, you know what? Let me study what I think I'd do good at. And I ended up in psychology, and I loved it. I loved it so I stopped caring what people thought. I was happy because I was around like-minded individuals, other psych majors. And then I basically speedrun my psych degree, and I was like, you know what? Let me just mess around and get another degree. So I got an associate degree too, you know, because it's similar-ish. But I don't regret it. I think the only thing I regret is not picking what I originally loved from the very beginning. instead of trying to like pick what other people, you know, would perceive as being better or cooler or smarter, you know. And I can still build a rocket.
Oh.
And I'm certified, so.
I'm a certified florist,
Yeah.
guys. I can't build no rocket.
That's
but
funny. That is funny.
if you got a wedding, I can make all your wedding flowers.
If you need a rocket belt, hit me up. Yeah, I'm gonna pull like that.
Alright, well. That's all.
Bye.